Hello, welcome back to the channel. Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and here we are now with part 8 of the build of this beautiful Pocher 1/8 scale Porsche 917 and in golf colours, and I'm absolutely loving the build. So we've moved on now. We did, in the last one we did part 9 and we added the front wishbones and everything, if you remember. So now we're coming on to part 10 and we're going to get all this together. So we're going to see how it all goes, and hopefully now what we'll be doing is when we come to fit these uprights, we'll actually be putting all this together so that rod there will actually become attached to there and stay in. So basically what we've got to do is put these uprights together with the brakes and everything, as you can see here. Now you can see there's lots of screws involved. I have gone in and I've done all the thread tapping off camera, so you don't have to watch me do that. Obviously I haven't tapped threads in the H11 parts because they're plastic. Everything else you see in head of view is metal. Now these discs are drilled, and I had a look at drilling them. If you remember when I did the Lamborghini, I drilled all the holes out to make them look more authentic. And here I've had a go at drilling them, and they are very difficult, and Dottie's down here with a toy. So you can see I've drilled one hole there, and that one hole took forever. So basically I've decided not to bother. And I think what we'll do is put some black wash or something on there, just to maybe even some black paint, just to highlight them. So what we're going to do first of all is get these glued together. So I'm going to grab a sanding stick. This is a 400 grit, fairly worn. And I'm just going to sand over the back of here. Sorry about the squeaking in the background, but many of you love it. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but most of you do like it. So there we go. And apparently some of you have dogs yourself, and when they hear Dottie with her squeaky toys, they run to the TV or the computer, whatever, and look for the toy. So there you go. So it's a bit of fun, isn't it? Right. But not fun if you've just got your dog to go to sleep, just got your dog to put their head down, and bang, there I go with the squeaky toy. So they're going to go together like that, and they fit together beautifully. Now there's a gap around the edge that you could fill if you want to. I'm not going to worry about it because basically we're never going to be taking the wheels off of this model. So, you know, it doesn't really matter. You're never going to see the edge of the disc. Also, when you look at the calipers and everything, they are a little simplified when compared to the real thing, which is understandable because of their position on the model. You know, why spend lots of time making really detailed brake calipers and stuff, you know, when they're not really visible through the wheels. The wheels are so deep. So I'm just going to put a couple of drops of super glue on there. This is the VMS 4PE. So line those pins up with those holes and then just push them together, just like so. And there we go. Today is Saturday, so tonight you will see part 7. And I've just had notification that the next few parts of the D'Agostini Mustang are on the way today. So you'll be seeing that probably before you see this video. There we go. So that's that one. I'll do the same on that one, and then I'll come back and we'll look at getting some paint or something on these to make them, to highlight them. Okay, so there you can see the difference. Painted, not painted. And you can see that that one looks a lot better than this one. So how do I do it? Use water-based paint. It's Vallejo Model Air, flat black. Just put a drop in there. That's enough. And then what we'll do is we'll just get the brush in the paint and just put a dollop of paint into each hole, just like so. You could paint the whole thing if you want to, but it just means it's more messy when you come to remove the excess. We're just going to put a dollop of paint in each hole, just like so, just like that. If you see it puddling a bit too much, then take it out, soak it up, because it'll just take forever to dry. That's the only problem. So we'll just go in and we'll just put it in like that, okay, and go round and do that all the way around on both sides, and then let it dry for 5 minutes. So been left about 3 to 5 minutes. Don't leave it too long, don't try and do it too quickly. So I've got the cotton bud here. I've dipped it in some isopropyl alcohol, nothing stronger, just isopropyl alcohol, And then what I'm doing is using this cotton bud, using this cloth just to take the excess of the IPA away, and then just very lightly wipe over the surface, just like so. And what will happen is you will leave the paint in the dimples, but take it off the rest. Okay, so just go around like so, all the way around, remove the excess paint, and then with the dry end of the cotton bud, just go over it. If it goes sticky, just wet it again and the dry end will deal with it. Okay, and then you can leave that for sort of 10 minutes or whatever if you want to, and then once again you go over it again with IPA, just give it a final clean, or wipe it over with a cloth or whatever. This is why I don't use anything stronger than IPA, because if you start using leveling thinners and stuff, you may start to attack the paint. There's one of my Stratos videos which you will have seen where I've shown you using leveling thinners to strip paint. There we go. You can also use IPA to strip paint. If you leave it soaking long enough, it will strip it, but it needs to be soaked rather than just applied like this. Alright, so that's how we do that. And now with a clean cotton bud, I can get some more IPA on here. Just a touch, nothing too much. Push it down on the paper towel, get the excess off, and then just remove any excess paint that's on there until you're happy that it's all clean. And there you go. There's your drilled discs. Now I'm not sure what Porsche did back in the day. I'm not even sure they had drilled discs back in 1971. But I know certainly that while a lot of people had drilled discs, Porsche had dimpled. They cast dimples into the discs rather than holes. So it could be accurate to not have them drilled out. Who knows? I'm not even sure if they had drilled discs, as I say, back in those days. But there we go. So that's our disc brake to start with. They're assembled. So now we can go on and assemble the rest. So we don't need a sanding stick. We need some screws. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the hub. Okay, so this is that side. So we're looking at this side here. So we've got DCB 10, which is the upright. So we're going to place the disc on here. Now they've got the holes going. So this is that side. So if you want the holes trailing, it's going to be that one there. Okay, you can see, unlike Italeri, what Pocher have done, they've got the holes going in the right directions. Or have they? Sorry, I just nudged the camera then. They've got them all the same. Have I got the wrong disc brakes out? Let's have a look a minute, hang on. Yes guys, I've got the wrong disc brakes out. You can see on here, we've got DCC 13, DCC 11, DCC 12, DCC 10. So unlike Italeri, Pocher have got it right. The holes, so basically the holes need to trail. So if the wheel's going that way, you can see these holes are making a fan that way. So as they go around, they trail. You can put them either way. Some say that they should be that way round. You know, if the car is travelling that direction, they should be cutting into the pads. I always say they should be trailing away from the pads. So this would be the right front wheel and this would be the right rear. So what I need now is one of these because I've got the wrong brakes out. So what I'm going to do is go on and assemble all of these discs now, and then we'll have the right ones. So I'll come back when I've done that, done the paint and everything. You don't need to watch me do all that again, and then we'll get on and put these uprights together. So we have our brakes now done, and you can see these are going that way and those are fanning that way. You can see the direction of the fan. So we need one of each, and basically this is going to be the right hand front. Okay, so I won't say driver's side because it's driver's side in the UK, driver's side for this car, but not necessarily for anyone else. So this piece here, H11, is going to go on, and that's just going to slot over the disc and then go like that. And then this brake caliper is going to go on this side, and that's going to go there. Okay, so this is our cooling duct. This is going to blow cold air into the disc, and that's the brake caliper itself. Now, as I say, I'm not too fussed about detailing and everything because these are quite simplified. There's no pad detail or anything there. And it looks like they were left in like a bare sort of aluminium colour. They certainly don't look like magnesium or anything, although they probably are. And the uprights were silver, and the brakes obviously were silver. The bells are aluminium, and the brakes would have been steel. So I'm just going to leave it all as it is, because it's going to look great through the wheel with those highlighted holes anyway. So the holding the brake caliper on are D screws. So these are the tiny little ones. So there's two of those. I'm not sure if this screwdriver is too big for these, is it? Yes, it is. We'll have to get our little Tamiya screwdriver out, which I don't have. I thought I did, but I don't. There we go. There it is. I can't believe it got buried so deep, even though I was only using it a couple of days ago. So we'll slot the caliper over the disc like that, line the holes up on there, and as I say, I've already tapped these holes, so the screws will go in nice and easy, just like so. Okay, so that's that one in there, and then we'll get this one here. I must get myself a better screwdriver for these tiny screws. Try and get that sorted before we do the Pagani. If Pocher decide to send me that kit, I'm not sure they are. I don't know. We shall see. So that's gone in there like that, and then we've got this brake cooling duct, and this is going to have H screws. So these are little screws for plastic. Again, we need the tiny Tamiya screwdriver for this. So we can get that on there, slot that over, make sure the circular part there, which is for the duct, is facing inwards. And then we'll put that screw in there and just pop that into the plastic, just like so. Don't go launching things down. And then we'll put that one into there. Find the hole wherever the hole may be. There we go, and that's that. So that's the front right upright assembled. So that's all good. Do the same on the other side, and then I'll come back. Right, so that's both of them together. I've put the other discs back in the pack. They do go back in the pack, so they're ready for the rears. It's quite handy on this model. The front and rear brakes are the same. Many cars aren't, particularly these days. So we can grab our front end, and we can take the upright, which is this one. This is the correct one. We'll move our piece of plastic out of the way, and then what we're going to do is take a screw. These are F screws, and then we can place the upright into there, and then we can put a screw in through that hole into the top. Okay, and then connect the steering arm as well, again with an F screw. In fact, I'm going to get my smaller screwdriver, which holds these little screws better. There we go. We can plug that one in there. Now I have cut these threads, and as I've said before, these F screws have like they're M2.3, but they're a coarse thread. They're sort of halfway house between a self-tapping screw and a machine screw. So so you cut the threads, and that makes it easier to get the screw in, but it also gives us like a thread locking capacity as well. So what we'll do is we'll put these in, screw them until they stop, and then come back and drop a spot. So put them in until they bottom out, and then come back and that will give us freedom of movement for the steering, and also it should give us freedom of movement. Yeah, so we've got suspension as well. Okay, so I will repeat that on the other side and we'll see how it all looks. Alright, so there's our front suspension in, and I don't know about you, but I think that looks great. Looks lovely. None of it's really going to be seen once the wheels and the body are on, but very, very nice indeed in my opinion. Looks lovely, I think. There we go. So we'll get our protective cover back on our dashboard to protect it from dust, and we can see there the steering works, so that's all good. Everything's good. Right, so the other thing we can do now, we can fit this steering wheel so it's correct in the straight ahead position. In fact, I'm just looking here, it's actually not that far out, it's okay actually. So we can push that fully home. There we are. So it's going to be okay by the look of it. Right, so happy with how that's coming together. So what's next in the build of this Pocher Porsche? Now then, step 11, they want us to build this rear firewall. This is going to go in behind the driver's seat, and we're going to put in the ECUs, coil packs and the battery. Now, I don't really want to do that right now. I want to move on to this area here. So I'm going to go and get the parts out for this step 12, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we've got the parts off. You can see we've got the frame here. So this is part DC16, this is DC6, we've got H2 and H3 here, this bracket is F7, and this little washer bottle is L4, and it's all nicely painted for us, so thank you very much for that, Pocher. So what we're going to do, we're going to take these two parts off the sprue, and what is thoughtfully done by Pocher, they have put the sprue gates so that when these are fitted, the sprue gates are butted up against each other, as you can see, so there is no need for doing any touch-up or anything, because you can't see where the sprue gates go. So very thoughtfully done there, thank you very much. It's a shame other manufacturers don't do the same. So this is all going to be glued together with super glue. So I'm going to grab some of my, move these out of the way, I'm going to grab some of my VMS Flexi 5K CA. This is the one, this is called 4PE. I'm just going to put a drop on there and add to what's already there from gluing the disc brakes together, and then we can put a drop in the hole in here. Okay, and that's just going to pop onto there like so. Nope, it's going to go onto there like so. Alright, and that little pipe is going to go into that groove there. I'm just going to put a drop of glue in there to hold that pipe in place. There we are. So that's going to sit in there like that. And then this one, same again. We'll put some super glue in there. And then put that in like that. Just get rid of the excess there. And that's that. Okay, and then this is going to glue onto there like so. So we can put a drop of super glue in each hole, just like so, using the last dregs of the glue that's left on there. And we can pop that onto there like that. Now, watching Royce's build over on, he's doing the IXO kit, which is a lot more expensive than this one, I think. But basically, they have good and bad bits, and unfortunately on the IXO kit, this is a bad bit. These bottles are lovely in the Pocher kit. They are very realistic. The ones in the IXO kit aren't as realistic. But you see, this is the thing, when it comes to models, the companies do research, and you know, the guy that researches it can't be expected to be a Porsche 917 expert. And basically what can happen is they can go and look at a restored vehicle which has had these replaced for whatever reason, and they just copy them. Obviously, what else are they going to do? So that's what happens, and it happens in all realms of scale modelling. It happens all the time. So I'm going to leave those there to dry for 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and get all this put together. Right, moving forward. So what we've basically done, all the glue's dried. I've looked at some pictures online, and it would seem that all the original 917s have a blue sticker on the top. So I've painted that with Tamiya X14 sky blue, so they're painted. I've gone around, I've painted those bands silver, and then I've just gone in with a wash, just to sort of highlight some details. You can see just an oil wash, just tap it in and let it go in, and it just sort of highlights everything, makes it all look a bit more interesting. But it's a very nice little assembly, that. So we've got this lower part of the chassis here, or part of the space frame should I say, and that is going to go in like that, okay, and that's going to be held down with 3 F screws. I'm not going to screw it down yet, just in case. And then this piece here, this is going to go in kind of, this is a little DC-16, and this is going to go in kind of vertically like that. So we've got these pins on the end, they're going to go into these holes in the chassis, or in the space frame, and then we've got those 2 holes there are going to go onto those holes there, and then this is going to clip in there. So basically I'm going to put that pin in the end there and pop that pin in there. It's quite awkward, but it does go together. So just I'll show you that again. Okay, we'll pop that out of there. Okay, so I'm putting this pin here, I'm putting in that hole there. Bear in mind nothing's screwed down, so it can all move around. I'll bring this side over here, flex that arm down and bring that one up to it, and then just pull it back. As you can see, it all just pops itself together. So now we can put some screws in. So we need, what do we need here? We need 2 F screws across the front. I've got 3, but there's another one at the back, so that's okay. So there's one in there. I'm going in there. And it's also looking, guys, like I was saying earlier, I wasn't going to say anything, but I've actually emailed Pocher twice and not had a reply. So I've asked them if they know anything about release dates of the Pagani or anything, and if they have any more, I can put up on a video any information, and they've not replied at all. So maybe they've decided they don't want to deal with me anymore. I don't know. It would be nice if they told me that, if that was the case. But yeah, so don't count on me getting that Pagani. Basically is what I'm saying. It may just turn up, we shall see. But I haven't had a reply. Normally they reply, you know, in hours rather than days. So these screws here, these are the B screws, and they're going into plastic, so we don't want to be graunching them up. Just turn them until they stop. So that's nice and solid. There's no need to glue any of this. It's not supporting anything. It's not like it's a RC car or something. And then this unit here is going to go on the front. So what I'm going to do is just grab a drop. I've already test fitted this. I know it fits okay. It's a nice snug fit actually. I'm just going to grab a drop of my Flexi 5K CA from VMS. We don't need much because it is a nice snug fit, as I say. And then we've got 2 holes there, 2 pins. It's all going to line up. And we can just, if I can find the holes. I was way too high, that was why. Just push that on. I'm going to use the end of the screwdriver just to push it back in so I don't break those cylinders off. So that's just going to sit like that. So there's our forward detail for the front area, and you've got a fairly small front opening, so you're not going to see a lot of it anyway. But I'm glad I've got rid of these ejector pin marks because they were all over the place. So I think that's looking really nice and clean there. So there we go. There's our front end all done for now with our wheels and brakes and everything. So I'm not sure what's next. What's next is, oh, we've got some more work to do in the front before we leave this. I'm not doing this here because we're not using it yet. It just means I'll have it lying around. So I've got some more stuff to do here. So I need to get this piping. I think I need to do some rework on this piping here because I think they've painted them silver, but it looks like with images I've seen, it looks like they're black. So it looks like they're a black braided hose. Something that a lot of people don't realise, in race cars, a lot of people like to have everything braided in stainless steel in their models. Think very carefully before you do that, because when you actually build real race cars, you consider, one is weight. Stainless steel is very heavy. The braided cable is quite heavy. It's extremely strong and it's extremely wear resistant, but also because it's stainless steel, if you had a stainless steel hose in here rubbing somewhere on the space frame, it would basically rub its way through it. So when you've got large hoses like these big oil hoses going all the way to the back to the engine, they might not necessarily be braided steel. So watch out for that. They would probably use braided steel like I have on the front of the engine, because you've got the heat and all the moving parts going around and everything. But then when it actually comes through the chassis, they would probably change it to a nylon braided or whatever. Okay, so bear that in mind, guys. Right, looking through the instructions now, here we have this front end, and as I said, we have this tube going in, we have these tubes going in, and they're showing us a nice diagram here of how it's all supposed to look when it's all in there. Now these two pipes here are feeding fresh air into the cabin, but basically there's nowhere for them to go. They just sort of go in underneath the dash and just sit there. But this end will attach to two little locations in the body. There's two, I should have marked the page, shouldn't I? Stupid me. There's two air scoops, you can see here. There's two knacker ducts there on the top next to the, and they're going to go into there. So they're going to come out of that and go in there. But there's nowhere for them to locate this end or that end. So I would suggest not fitting them yet. Okay? I'm not going to fit them until it comes time to fit the body. And I think what I'll do is glue them to the inside of the body and then feed them in there. We'll sort something out. Also, these brake hoses here, they're going to glue onto the back of these brake cooling ducts and come round and sit next to the radiator. But they also go into cooling ducts in the nose. You can see them there. Okay, you can see them by my thumb there. So I think there's actually panels that go in there as well to feed the to pick up the pipes. So I would suggest, if you're going to fit these hoses, don't glue these ends. So we've got on this side, we've got N3. So I've got the N parts here. N3 is this one. So I'm only going to cut off one at a time. Okay, so that's N3. And I'm guessing that end goes, that's not N3, is it? Surely that's not N3. N7. Sorry, that is the top one. I've taken off the wrong one. So that's N3. This is 7. That's the other one. I don't want to take that one off. I want N2. I want N2. That's N2 there. So N2 is going to go in here. It's just going to sit there. I'm going to leave this end loose because that's going to pick up on a hole in the body. So what we'll do is we'll glue this end. We'll glue that end onto there and just have it sitting in there. That's going to be fun to glue that on there. We're going to have to hold it. So what I'm going to do is put some super glue in here. Well, I wouldn't normally do this. I'd normally put it on with an applicator, but because it's a fairly large area, right, so I'm just going to put that on there and then swivel it down so that it sits on the bottom, and we're going to have to hold that in place while the glue dries, and it's trying to squeeze itself off, I think. Yeah, as soon as I let it go, it just wants to pull itself off. So what I could do is single-handedly, without knocking it over, I could put some accelerator on there. Just keep a hold of it until the glue dries. Right, that's them glued in. So I'm not going to bother playing with the steering until that's had a good chance to dry. This VMS glue is fantastic. Its only downside is it takes a while to dry. It's not like instant like the cheaper super glues, but it's much stronger, and as it says on there, it's flexible as well, so it's not as brittle as the other super glues. So there's our brake cooling ducts, and as I say, these ends are left clear, and then what we'll do later on, we actually fit some inserts into the front end, and they will pick up on those pipes. There we go, you can see we've got a grill going in, and we've got these inserts here, and they're going to pick up on the end of those pipes. So don't glue these ends of these pipes down. And as I say, these are going to go in. This one was number 3, wasn't it? So these are going to go in kind of like that. Is that right? I would say that's actually that side. I would say that's for that side. But anyway, it's hard to see where they're supposed to go. This one is 7. So that's for that side. And it's, you know, there's just nowhere for them to go, so I'm not going to fit them. We'll fit them when it comes time to fit the body, and probably just glue them into the body and let them dangle in there or whatever, or leave them out completely, because I'm looking at pictures and they all seem, some of them seem to have pipes coming up and right over in here, and I'm not sure all the pipes are the right colour. I think they should be like a browny sort of colour, almost like brown paper. Anyway, so these hoses, basically these hoses go into this radiator like that, or oil cooler. These are basically oil hoses, and you've got a pin on there which is going to go into that hole there. Okay, there's a hole, pick it up so you can see what I'm talking about. There is a hole here, as you can see there right in front of my finger, so that pin there is going to go into there. And then we've got down on the interior, back here, this thing's getting heavy, there's a hole there. You can see that hole in that space frame there, and a slot in the side. So basically this hose is going to go through, okay, and the end of it's going to go into that hole in the side, and then that pin on there is going to go into that hole there, and then the radiator is going to go in, and those holes will go in there, and the radiator will sit on 2 pins in the floor, just like so, and hide those nasty screw heads. So that's how it's all going to look when you open the front up. So I didn't have bothered getting rid of those ejector pin marks down there, but those back there I'm glad I did, because they would be visible. So there we go. So that's how our front end is looking. You can see it there. That's how it's going to look. Now these hoses, as I say, they are black. They are matte black. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to repaint this with a sort of flat aluminium colour, and then we'll give it a wash on there to make the grill stand out. This is, there's a mould seam. They've got rid of most of it, which is fair play to them. They've done a really good job at Pocher. They've really done a nice job. What I'm going to do is get rid of the mould seam down there. I'm going to spray these matte black to give them like a matte black look, and these ends will paint with a sort of titanium colour or something. So I think there's a yellow band on there as well. So we shall see. I'm not exactly sure what that there is supposed to be. Maybe it's some kind of thermostat. I don't know. But, anyway, there we go. I'll get those painted, then I'll come back. So moving along, I've painted these. I've painted this with LP70 gloss aluminium. I wasn't going to bother, but it did have a couple of mould seams down the side, so I sanded them out, and there was something along the edge there. It was a bit rough, so I sanded that out, repainted that. So that's all done. And what I'm going to do to enhance this radiator, this oil cooler, I've got here was a black oil wash. This is something that's used a lot in scale modelling. Basically, oil washes are really just oil paint heavily thinned with enamel thinners or odourless thinners. You can use acrylics, but I find in my experience when you use acrylics they tend to go a bit grainy, whereas the oils don't. This is a Bolt black oil wash. You can buy all sorts of oil washes from all sorts of manufacturers, Migamo, AK, and all those people. This is actually a Modeller's World wash, which is no longer available in the UK as far as I know. I think somebody's looking at bringing it in, but we shall see. So yeah, just a black oil wash. All I'm going to do is with a dedicated brush, I'm just going to brush this on here. And what we can do is brush over the whole surface. Okay. And then just wipe it off. Or what you can do if you want to do it more precisely, you can just put a spot in each groove, put a couple of spots along the way, and you will see that what happens is it capillaries along the groove, like so. Alright, and the other beauty of using oil is the fact that it dries. But for quite a few hours, even like 36 hours, you can still remove the excess with a cotton bud. And if you can't remove the cotton bud, all you need to do is soak a cotton bud in a bit of enamel thinners or odourless thinners, and you can wipe away the excess that way. So I'm just going to brush this on all over, okay, because doing it precisely is really a waste of time, because we can get the same results. If this was a matte paint, then I wouldn't get the same results. If you use a matte paint, it kind of soaks into the surface. Matte paint is kind of absorbent, if you like. But this paint is gloss, so I can just wipe it off and it won't stain it. Okay. I'm also on here, on the end of this oil line, I've done some detail painting on these nuts. So what we can do now is just use a wash and just touch in each of the joints like that, and you'll see the oil chase round. Just touch it in there, touch it in there. Right, and you can watch it chase around. And what that'll do, it will give us it's not weathering as such, but it's sort of breaking it up. It's giving it a boundary. You can see it looks a lot nicer. It's like if you look at this thing here, I think it's a thermostat or something. Whatever that is, I'll just put a drop of wash there, drop of wash there. Okay, and let it go round. What will happen is it will work its way round, and then it will dry out, and it won't be as obvious as it is right now. You can see there, it's sort of just gives it an outline, it gives it some depth. Same as on here. So we can leave that we'll leave it for 10 minutes or something to dry, and then wipe it off, and then we can assemble it all. Back in a mo. Alright, about 10 minutes gone by, 15 minutes. So just give it a gentle wipe off with a cotton bud, going across the grooves here, not rather than along them. Same on here, we'll go across it rather than along it. There we go, you can see you've got that sort of highlighted look. You could use it like a dark grey if you want something a bit more subtle. But and then this one here, we'll just wipe across it with a cotton bud rather than along it. Okay, you could use a cloth, you don't have to use a cotton bud. And then finally we'll go along it. And then with the clean end, we can just clean off the ends like so. And there we are. That looks much better, doesn't it? I hope you'll agree. So this is ready to all just glue in now. So all we need to do is once again get our piece of plastic out of the way. We will get some of the VMS 4PE. Okay. Again, this is, if you want to get some of this VMS glue, pop on over to brooksmodels.com. See it there on the card, and put your order in. He does most of the VMS products, and they're all very, very good. Okay, so drop of glue in there, and then we'll just pop this radiator in, pop it down onto those pins, just like so, and that glue should be enough to hold it in there. Alright, and then what I'm going to do here is pop, I need some more glue actually. Just going to pop a drop of glue into each of the holes. So we'll put a drop of glue in the bottom one here, and we'll put a drop in the top one there. Not sure that went in. There we go. Notice I'm putting the glue in the holes, guys, not on the pins. And the reason I'm doing that is because when I'm flapping it all around in there, if you put glue on the pin, the glue's going to touch and come off onto something else. And then I'm going to put a drop in there. Okay, so that's like that. I'm going to use a cotton bud here just to mop up any excess. That's something I learned from Phil Flory. Cotton buds are brilliant for mopping up excess CA glue. And then we're going to pass that pipe through there. Okay. I'm going to pull it back, insert it into the radiator. You can hear my chair squeaking away. I'm going to make sure this end is down in there, it's gone in those holes. Okay, so maybe we should have put the pipes into the radiator first. Okay, so that one's in there. That one needs to go over a bit more to drop into that hole. So I want that one to drop into that hole. This is becoming very awkward. So I'm going to hold. It's awkward because I'm trying to show you what I'm doing and it's not impossible. I just want to push that so that pin goes into that hole in the chassis. I'm going to use a pair of tweezers. Keep hold of the radiator. I don't know why that pin will not go in there. That's really quite annoying because it looks awful with it stuck out. And my chair is really annoying me as well because it's rubbish. I've got a brand new one in the box, not built, a Secret Lab one. And I don't want to build it up because I have a certain little four-legged friend that chews everything, and I'm frightened she's going to chew that chair. This is really taking some force to go in, but I want it to go down into that hole. It doesn't want to go. There we go. You heard it clip in then. So it will go, and everything will stay fitted and aligned. Okay, so everything is glued in place, and you can see that looks bloody lovely now rather than that silver, I think. Now, I was reading, apparently they used to have oil passing through the chassis frames, but the drivers complained about the heat, so they started to run them through these tubes instead. So clearly these tubes are what are going to connect to those braided hoses I put on the front of the engine. So maybe I've made braided hoses and maybe they should have been black. They should be black braided hose, I think. So if you are going to super detail your model, put some braided hosing on there and paint it black, perhaps. It's probably like a black nylon braid. Goodrich 200, I think it's called. Anyway, so there we go. Right. So, as I say, these pipes here, these are designed to go in here, like that. I reckon they're numbered wrong. I think it's that side. They're going to pick up on an aqueduct in the front, and I don't want to put it in yet because they're showing it here. It's just sat in midair doing nothing. So there's nothing to attach them to, nothing. So I don't really see the point in fitting them now. It's just going to be sat in there. You know, you can't glue them to anything because you don't know where they're going to go. So yeah, right. Okay, so we've completed step 13. All right, except for those tubes, obviously, as I just said. So now we've got to look at step 14, obviously. And step 14, number one is to fit that floor panel. We've already done that and filled it all and blended it and sanded it and everything. Number two is to build the seat up, which I don't want to do yet because I don't want to have all this lovely sort of flocked material sitting around getting covered in dust and finger marks and stuff. So I don't really want to put the seat in yet. I think I'm going to put the seat in at a later date. We could go on and glue that seat frame in, but it might be easier to glue the seat to the frame and then put the frame in that way round. We've done that part there, that little D15, that's that little lever in the side there, that's gone in already. So it's just this rear panel that's got to go in, and the rear panel was what we missed out back at step 11, so that's what we've got to look at next. So I'm going to go and get the parts out, we'll have a look. No doubt I'm going to have to repaint this because it's probably painted in that light grey colour. So I'm going to go and get the parts out of the box and then I'll be back. Right, so there's all the parts off the sprue. So we've got the, there's a negative battery lead there, there's the positive in red. And then we've got the battery itself here, which is quite nicely done. You've got the bracket painted in silver. We've got the back halves of the two coils here, and then we've got the front halves of the coils there. These are going to need to be repainted in blue to match the rear ones. So I'm going to have to mix that to match again. We've also got a bit of flash on that line there, so we're going to have to paint those in as well. So they're going to go onto there and go into here, I'm guessing. Where do they go? They're going to fit in there, so I'm guessing they go that, okay. So they're going to look like they go through the bulkhead. That's going to feed the front distributor. A few of you asked, they thought the two cables from the rear two coils went one to each distributor. They don't, they go to two to each distributor, which I explained in the video. And then we've got the ECU packs here, so they're going to go on that way up and they're going to go in those holes there. No doubt they're going to be painted as well. We've got this main firewall here. That's going to need to be painted. We've got some ejector pin marks to deal with on there because they're going to be visible, I think. We've also got, I wanted to show you this, is the sprue gates. You can see I've cut them off and left plenty on. Be very careful when you remove the part from the sprue. You can see here there is a pin and the actual sprue gate is there. So you need these pins left on the bottom. Okay, and then this great big one in the middle, just slice that one off and then we can take our knife and shear off any excess, and then we can take a sanding stick and sand away the remnants like that. All right, so there we are. I think it might also need a wash. It feels quite oily, so I'll give it a once over with this, which was bought for me by Annie. This is the Modeller's World Model Degreaser. It's brilliant stuff. I think it's basically automotive panel wipe. So there's Dotty joining in the fun. Alright, so yeah, I'm going to get rid of these ejector pin marks because they're going to be visible on the finished thing. So those two certainly. I don't know about these, but those two certainly. So we may as well just fill them all, don't we, before we get any painting done. So I'm going to call that a day for this video because what I'm going to do now is go away and get ejector pins filled and get some painting done. I need to do some research and see which colour this bulkhead is. You can tell how Dottie's growing because 2 weeks ago she didn't have the strength in her jaw to squeak that toy. But now she's well away to becoming the squeaking hero. Master of the squeak. There we go. So I'm going to get all this together. I'll get these glued together, get the seams dealt with on them. Just put that piece of sprue away. You can see they're going to go on the back like that. There'll be a seam to deal with, so I'll deal with those, get those painted. Have a look at the battery. I don't know if it needs any more painting or not. Certainly these terminals need painting, so we'll deal with that. And yeah, we'll go for that. So I will see you all next week or in a few days or whatever for part 9. I'm not sure how the schedule is going with this one now, but we've got quite a lot done in this video, I think, for you know, for what I normally do. But there we are. There's our front end. all complete, all looking lovely. We've got a oil cooler there, we've got the pipework there, and as you can see, just a little bit of paint, a little bit of wash, and you can really make things pop. You don't have to, you don't need to. The kit looks great as it does without doing all this, but just spending a little bit of time doing a bit of painting, a little bit of research. That's part of the fun of modelling, is the research. And there you go, you can end up with that. Okay, so I will see you all soon. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.